Hi, my name is Mark Bernard. I'm a monetary economist. In this video, I want to talk about specifically the pendulum that's swinging to the right in the Western countries and how this will affect the geopolitical situation in Russia and Ukraine. Right now, we've had a major turn of events. Macron played all the cards on the table, gambled it, and he lost. So it looks like Le Pen had 34% of the votes and is going to be able to form a coalition, and the far right party, which is notoriously pro-Russian in France, is the victor. Also in the U.S., Donald Trump, it looks like, is going to be the victor, at least in the electoral college. And we can't predict the future, but right now that's where it's trending. Anything could happen. And Viktor Orban is visiting Kiev. So what's happening here? Moscow's a two-pronged strategy. We know this. Hold the line on the front line. It's not going to be able to do it. If you speak any Russian and check the Telegram channels, people no longer are going for the incentives, the financial incentives, because they know the implications of their ultimate destiny if they go to the front line. So they're not going to be able to do that. They can't sustain that. So Moscow is playing this geopolitical card pretty heavy, putting pro-Russian nationalist leaders on Western in the lead. They use social media. They pump it. There are strategies to pump it, not 6 months, but 2 weeks before the election, because people's memories are pretty short. They just pump it to no limits. And it sways. They play the immigration card, spark nationalism, strike the fuel. And then you have a far-right leader elected. And initially, remember, Russian propaganda has changed from Soviet propaganda. Soviet propaganda was, the message was to convince you to a certain side. Russian is to confuse you. So what's happening is we have messaging coming from Trump, Le Pen, and even Viktor Orban with these gestures going to Kiev that, maybe we've been pro-Russian in the past, but maybe we're not so much. We're maybe a little bit pro-Ukrainian. This is a very dangerous. Do not be deceived. Do not have no illusions. You have to be an acid skeptic, a realist. Trump, Le Pen, and Orban are not good for Ukraine. They're going to try to sway maybe some sort of middle ground negotiation, and it's going to fail. Why? Because Ukraine is not going to give up. And let me explain the whole situation. There are two types of people in this world. Idealists, people who have a vision. Ideologues maybe is a poor word, but they have a vision of a greater humanity, make the world a better place. Le Pen is not that. Biden, you can say he's basically checked out, but he is that. He's Roman Catholic. He still goes to church. He's got some sort of idealism behind him. Just like I would say that Ronald Reagan had that, even though there's two different men. Trump does not have that. He's basically swapping wives and cheating on them, and you know what the evidence is presented. Le Pen, she is not that. Although she was baptized Roman Catholic, she has nothing to do with the church. She's not an idealist in any way. She's going to shift with the wind. And Orban, he has no affiliations or idealism. So when you have that, you play a very Machiavellian strategy. I'm an idealistic person. I want to make the world a better place. I have a vision. And Zelensky also has a vision for a free Ukraine, that the people believe that they can have a free movement of labor and capital and integrate with people who also have democratic ideals. These three leaders are going to try to make, because this Moscow's play, gestures to warming and loosening their stance on Ukraine and Russia. They're going to say, okay, maybe we're not 100% pro-Russian. Maybe we're a little bit, we can see the Ukrainian side a little bit. Let's try to negotiate a peace or something. And that is the Moscow play, to lure or sucker the West into believing that their leaders who are far-right nationalists are really not all that bad when it comes to Russia, Ukraine. Trust me, they are. Do not trust them. So what does this mean? Does it mean it's the end? No, I always say, evil has its hour. And if this is in play, sometimes that hour will be extended, but they'll have their day and they'll have their day in judgment. And we know that. Russia will lose and Ukraine will win. This comes from the simple fact that they have other people. They're not dictators. Trump will not be a dictator. Le Pen is not a dictator. She has to form a coalition. And Orban, well, there's a lot of growing resentment towards him in Hungary. They have other issues in the background. This will weaken. They will not be as effective as they think they are in Moscow. And the bottom line is that two-pronged strategy of just to trick people on the front line from Moscow is not going to work. If you read any Russian or understand any Slavic language, you can understand that the people no longer are going for the financial incentives. That gig is up, that game is over, and the attrit rate is too high. They're being hollowed out in Russia. And just wait for that straw to hit the camel's back. Russia will lose, Ukraine will win. Their two-pronged strategy. Don't fall for the geopolitical warming of right nationalist leaders in the West. It's a farce, it's a facade, but ultimately it will fail anyway. And Ukraine will win. My name is Mark Baronat. I'm a monetary economist coming at you from beautiful. This is actually a city in Eastern Europe. Can you believe how beautiful it is? A city. It's one of the most beautiful cities in the world, if you ask me. Have a great day. Thank you very much.